Great rise, and the moonlight's beloved. You know who this is. You know what it is. It's Queen Goddess, the King Advocate. It is Melanated Monday. So you all come on in here so we can have this conversation and I can go to sleep. All right, come on in. Again, it's Melanated Monday. Tonight we are discussing emotional and mental slavery. So hopefully I will be able to provide you all with information that you can use that will allow you to make better decisions, be more aware of what's going on around you, or even possibly within you, so you can be more healthy mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and of course, physically. So come on in. I will give you all a few minutes to get in here. Feel free to share this video on your platform or someone else's if you like. I will have the phone lines open as well this evening. If you decide you would like to call, the number is listed there for you. And for you, if you would like to call in and share your comments, thoughts, questions, or concerns, you may do so by calling 770-906-5271, 770-906-5271. I'm giving you all a minute to get in here. I think I started maybe a minute early, but y'all should know me by now. Y'all should know by now. At 9 o'clock, I'm live. 9 o'clock, unless there is a technical difficulty for some reason that I cannot be here at 9 o'clock. So I'm going to give you all a moment to get in here because I don't want to have to start without you. You know, I love when you come in so I can speak to you and greet you properly. Okay. This is one of those conversations where your input is necessary. Your comments or your questions would be um, pretty important. Okay, so please, please, please feel free to interact and ask any questions that you may have. I see someone is there. I don't know who. So if you don't mind saying hello properly so I can greet you the way you need to be greeted, I would greatly appreciate it. Okay. So we're going to wait a few minutes for people to get in here, get the notifications. Um, Remember that I'm live at 9 o'clock. All right. In the meantime, I'm going to continuously bring this up, the business of marriage, your feelings, the truth about every relationship, because it is a necessary and it's a short read to give you all an understanding as to how to handle your relationships, whether you are married by law, by thought, by whatever. If you're not married, if you're in a relationship, you have a friend, whatever, you're in a relationship. So this book will help you maneuver through it correctly with there being no feelings in the way of receiving the facts. All right. So make sure you get your copy. You can get that from my website, MYOMY Wellness. That's myomywellness.com. Or you can reach out to me directly and get a copy from me. It is $20. If I mail it to you, it is $22, but it is worth every dime. Okay. So please make sure you get your copy, and that way you'll know what I'm talking about when I'm talking to you about relationship and business. Okay. Again, the business of marriage, F your feelings, the truth about every relationship. Miss Carla, what's going on, loved one? I so appreciate you being here. And like you're the first. Unless the person that came on before you just said nothing. So I don't know. But I appreciate you for being here. I don't know what's taking everybody else so long. It's like 9:04 already. I don't know what's taking everybody so long. So I don't know if I should go ahead and just start or if I should wait a moment and stall out. Okay, folks are starting to come in. Y'all coming in a little slow, but you're coming on in. So I guess I will wait. So whoever else has showed up, please let yourself be seen so I can greet you properly, please, and thank you. All right. I'm excited about this particular topic, not because it's a great topic to have, but because it's necessary and it affects people, a lot of people in many different ways. Let me see who we got there. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Someone else just showed up, but I can't tell who that is. I know it's a brother. So if you would please let me know who you are, sir, because I see you. So I want to greet you properly. But great rise in the moonlight while you're here, and I appreciate you for being here. So again, yes, tonight's discussion is emotional slavery. We're gonna get deep into this one. I actually have to pull back because I took myself and I brought my notes out and I started writing some things and it got a little bit deeper than I think we'll be able to handle all at one time. Nonetheless, if you have a question about something, if I can answer it, I will. If I can't, I'll let you know that I cannot at this time, but I will most definitely do my due diligence in finding an answer for you. What's going on, DJ? That's my sister girl, Deshawn Johnson. Thank you, loved one, for being here. I appreciate you. I said, we got a brother on the line and I can't tell who he is. I can't tell. But nonetheless, I appreciate you. So look, this is what I'm going to do. Since you all are here, you here. So whoever is meant to get the information will get it. That all right with y'all if I start? You cool? Donald, bam. That's what I'm talking about. Great rise. Loved one, it's been like 3 years? 2 at least? I'm glad you're here, though. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Hopefully, this information will do you some good, or you'll be able to give it to somebody that will be able to utilize it. So we're going to just get started. So again, tonight's topic is emotional and mental slavery. What's going on, loved one? There's not one. I don't have a particular link. You showed up. That's it. I don't have a link. This is it. So people just come to my YouTube page, Queen Goddess, the King Advocate. I guess that's the link. Queen Goddess, the King Advocate. Just come to the YouTube page. You'll be able to see me live. If there's something else I need to do, I don't know about it just yet. But I appreciate you for being here. We're going to go ahead and get started, as mentioned. So let's begin with some understanding of what a few of these terms mean. You know, I like to give you information first, and we're going to start it with slavery. Most people's understanding immediately when you think of slavery, you think about the history that we've been told about Black people being shackled and whipped, beaten, and not being physically free to do whatever. That's basically the foundation of our understanding of the word. Generally speaking, slavery is just a forced activity or an acceptance of condition. That's just the general of it. It's a forced activity or a forced acceptance of a condition. So let's just keep that in mind. Forced activity or acceptance of a condition. When we're dealing with emotions, as we know them, we think about how we feel. And y'all know how I feel about feelings. Okay. You already know. All right. So when we're dealing with emotionalism, it is defined as the tendency to regard things emotionally. So that means regarding things with feelings. Okay. And anytime you have feelings about something, you become connected to that thing, be it a thing or a person. You become personally connected to whatever you have feelings about. Okay. I think that those are pretty self-explanatory. The next is systematic. Why are we talking about systematic? Because it's necessary. Systematic deals with things that are structured. So it's acting in a fixed plan or system. Is methodical. There's a reason behind it. There are steps to everything. It's systematic. It's in order. There's an order to it. Here we go. There's an order to it. What's going on, Keisha? Thanks for being here, loved one. So systematic, we're going to look at it as it just being something that is structured, something that has a particular order. There's a method to it. There's a reason why it has to go a certain way. Okay. And then finally, institutionalism. Institutionalism is defined as general approach to governance and social science. We're going to just use the general approach to governance for the sake of this conversation, okay? It also emphasizes, or there's emphasis on organization at the expense of other factors. So we're going to utilize that as well. Emphasizes organization at the expense of other factors. In this particular case, other factors are going to be people. Okay. All right. So, why are we having this conversation? Besides the fact that I just picked it, because it's normally not that. It's usually something that has happened or something that's put on me for us to have these types of conversations. And for whatever reason, people are so much more in their feelings than ever before. I don't know if the pandemic has caused this, but people are in their feelings more than ever. Okay. So we're going to get right into emotional slavery. What is it? Understanding already what slavery is, as we've defined it as it being a forced activity or an acceptance of a condition. So, emotional slavery is a state of being forced to feel or experience the emotions of another. And this usually comes by way of manipulation or deflection. So, what does that look like? If you're not familiar with the word deflection, it refers to when a person refuses to look at themselves for whatever issues they have, any negative aspects, characteristics, or whatever, anything that they have done wrong. They don't look at themselves, but they can point everything out in you that's wrong. But what is actually happening is what they are saying about you is usually what is true about themselves. But instead of taking responsibility and owning that, they put it off on you as if you have done that. So basically, you become the mirror that they refuse to look at. Okay, they refuse to see themselves in what they're saying to you. So it becomes a deflection. They're not taking responsibility or accountability for what they are or not, or what they say, feel, do, whatever. It's your fault. Okay. What tends to happen is we'll say the enslaved individual tends to take on or become responsible for the enslaver's feelings. They become, let's see, they just hold themselves responsible because the enslaver, if you will, is like a constant, or it's you do this, you. So if somebody's constantly saying, well, what what you do, then what happens is you internalize that as I, or me. It becomes all about self when it's not really. So what happens again is that the enslaved takes on the responsibility of the enslaver because of the deflection, the constant deflection, the refusal to accept accountability for where they are. They have taken on the blame for why this individual feels the way they do. This happens in so many cases, be it in abusive cases, be it you with somebody who just ain't the shiggity. Okay, they just not, and you know that, but they find a way to convince you to look past their errors, look past their issues, and make you take it. Say, you know what? I'm not going to take that I ain't shit. I'm going to tell you that you ain't shit. Okay? It's you. You're the one that's not. Okay? This is what they do. Again, this is why I keep telling you all to F your feelings. Pay attention to the facts. Pay attention to how people do, how they think, how they move, how they feel, all of that. Pay attention to everything. Okay? Those feelings every time falsify facts. Feelings falsify facts. Feelings falsify facts every time. They get in the way of you being able to process logical information. So F those feelings and pay attention to the facts. So what continues to happen from that point, once the enslaved takes on the responsibility of the oppressor, then it moves into, you all may be familiar with the term or the condition called Stockholm Syndrome, right? So Stockholm, for those of you who are not familiar, Stockholm Syndrome occurs when a victim takes on a sympathy for their abuser, or a slave would take on sympathy for their master. What's going on, Julius? Thanks for being here, loved one. I appreciate you. They justify the behavior of their master or their abuser, their oppressor. They find a way to say, oh, well, I understand why you beat me upside the head. I understand why you have these chains around my leg. I understand why you keep calling me a bitch. You know, whatever it is, they find a way to justify that. They have become more sympathetic versus empathetic. So empathy, you know, you feel for people, you feel for them. I'm sorry you feel that way. I hate that you're going through that. Would be an example of empathy. Sympathy is when you're finding a reason or finding a way to put yourself literally in the place of. You know, if I could do this for you, if I could change places with you, I would. And like you actually trying to find a way to do that. When you really are justifying the wrongs of that individual, you are becoming more sympathetic. And the more sympathetic you become, the more of an open prey you become. You cause yourself to stay in a position of an enslaved, or in the position of one who is emotionally oppressed, because you no longer can process logically. You are strictly processing from your emotional state, which has been manipulated through deflection and manipulation. Okay, you'll find and I'm not going deep into this either, but you will find that to be a trait of someone who is considered narcissistic. Okay, now there is a difference between being a narcissist, and we're not going deep into that, being a narcissist and having narcissistic traits, because all of us at some point have narcissistic traits. Okay, depending on what the situation is, you can turn them on and off. But a narcissist, uh, they practice that naturally. Like, this is who they are, period. Okay, regardless to what happens. And for people who are in that state, everything is always about them. So if they can make you be life, that the reason they are in the position that they're in, the reason why they feel what they feel, the reason why they do what they do is because you have done, because you have said, or because you refuse, whatever, is always your fault. Always your fault or someone else's fault. For a person that does that, they are your emotional slave masters. They have become the ruler of your emotions because all they have to do is get in there just enough to manipulate you, to take control of, to cause you to think and feel from their position, which means you no longer think or feel from your own self. You have completely left your own being and have encompassed the being of your oppressor. Tell me if I'm saying too much, okay? Because I want to make sure that you all are understanding, overstanding what I'm saying. I don't want you to walk away from here like, what the hell? What? What did she say? I want you to understand, overstand what I'm saying. So if you have questions at this point, if you need me to repeat something or reword it, please let me know so I can do that. I want to make sure you get it. If you want to call in, feel free to do so. 770-906-5271 is the call-in number. 770-906-5271. Okay. Emotional slavery, how does it occur? It usually occurs due to the lack of emotional intelligence or a decrease of emotional intelligence and control, which means people operate based off impulse. Impulse, you don't think, you just do. And a person who is emotionally unintelligent or less intelligent, that does not mean that you're stupid or dumb. It just means that you have not yet learned how to control your emotions. You have not yet learned um, when and where to utilize or to attach to a certain emotion. You just out there. It's like emotional tics, Tourette's, even is this. You know what I'm saying? You just do stuff because you're angry or whatever. You say stuff because somebody pissed you off. You don't think about it, or you done slap somebody just because they there. You done a Bernie Mac, somebody got off the train. You just start smacking them just because, you know, that type of thing. Emotional unintelligence. So those things have to be learned, and you have to experience them. Like, it doesn't just happen overnight. It's a practice, and the practice comes about with you, one, having to be willing to accept that you need help in that area. Okay, you have to make yourself aware of your vulnerabilities. Where do you fall off a little bit short? Where are you participating in activities with people or whatever that cause you to take the lesser part of the deal? You know what I'm saying? What are you doing that's causing harm to yourself? Why are you still in a situation or dealing with certain people or in a certain place or whatever, when you know you ain't got no business being there? That is, there's no good that can come from that. Okay, but this is what happens. Being emotionally enslaved usually occurs because a person is unable to control their emotions, and they're very impulsive. If you have any questions at this point, please let me know, because I'm going to move forward. But I will be taking some questions. What I'm going to do now is give you some signs to see if you are an emotional slave, because I'm sure that's going to be the question. Well, how do you know if you are an emotional slave? How do you know if you have been exposed? Okay, so there are generally five common signs that you are an emotional slave, okay, or that you are moving into that type of situation. The first would be that you react before you think. You react without thinking, okay? It's like an emotional impulsiveness is what that is. So there's a term called amygdala hijack. So what that is, the amygdala is a part of the brain that is responsible for the emotions. And there sometimes happens that that part of the brain overtakes the logical part of the brain. So you don't think, you just respond, you just do something. Why did you do that? I don't even know. Correct. You don't know because you were not in your logical state of mind, that what people would consider to be temporarily insane, perhaps. It would fall under that line of the amygdala hijacking. Okay. And that is a psychological and a scientific um, description, basically, of what happens with the brain when it takes over, when the feelings, when the emotional part takes over the logical part. This is what happens. The second part is that you do something and it feels good, it feels right for the moment, and then 10 minutes later, you feel bad. You regret what you did. That is a second sign that you may be falling into, if you are not already, an emotional slave, falling into emotional slavery. You did something right now. Right now, it feels good for me to bust you in the mouth, and then 2 minutes later, damn, I should have done that part. Okay, so that also goes into the impulsiveness. The third is your actions not only hurt other people, but they hurt you as well. So, for instance, you get angry at your children, just using this for the example, you get angry at your children because they have not cleaned up their room before dinner time, as you stated. So you say, well, if you don't clean up if this room is not clean by the time I finish cooking, ain't nobody eating. Okay, well, the room is not clean. There's no effort being made for it to be clean. And you hungry. But because they did not clean up their room before dinner was served, you ain't eating either. That's just foolishness. Okay. But you hurting yourself. So if you do something like that, um, you might be falling into emotional slavery. And there are other deeper examples of that, I'm sure. Um, anytime that you do so, okay, well, here goes one to the extreme with Miss Bobbitt. Okay, y'all remember Lorena Bobbitt and her husband. Okay, I think they divorced after that, but let's just say they stayed together. Okay, she was mad at him because he was maybe cheating, whatever. So she dismantles his manhood. Let's put it that way. She dismantled him. Now, if you married to the dude, and you have no thought to not be married to him and you want to still enjoy him, to dismantle him hurts you as well. Clearly, it hurts him way more than it does you, but it hurts you nonetheless. So that is an indication that you are falling into, if you are not already, an emotional slave. Okay. Um, the next is that there is an excessive thinking or overthinking about a situation when you're trying to go to sleep, right? So if your mind won't allow you to rest, it won't allow you to just chill out because you constantly keep thinking about what you did or what you said or what somebody else did or said. There are regrets in it. It's something that you did or said or didn't do or didn't say, and you regret that. And those regrets disallow you to rest at night. That's an indicator as well. And finally, the final um, sign that you may be an emotional slave or maybe heading in the direction of emotional slavery is if you keep repeating the cycles. Now, you see what has already happened. You've already gone through whatever cycle one is, you've already gone through it. Okay. You know you don't like it. You know what the outcome is because that's what it was. And yet you keep doing the same thing over and over again. That whole insanity type thing. Yeah, you keep doing that. So if you continue to repeat the cycles of, let's say, trauma, abuse, whatever, you're repeating these continuously, you are most definitely under emotional slavery. Okay, so real quick, I will run those back down to you. How do you know if you are an emotional slave or falling into emotional slavery? Is first, you react without thinking, which is usually caused by the amygdala hijack. Second, you do something that feels right for the moment and immediately you have regrets about it. Third, your actions hurt other people, but they hurt you as well. Fourth, there is an excessive overthinking, and it's usually due to regret, where it doesn't allow you to rest at all. And fifth is that you continue to repeat the cycles. Okay, so I'm gonna read Miss Carla's comment. She says, "I go through this with family members. Uh, they try to make you feel guilty so that they can manipulate you and do something for the absolutely. That's what they do. That's what people do. Yep, try to make you feel guilty." What's going on, D Mays? Thank you, loved one, for being here. Calvin, I see you, brother. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you as well. Veronica, hey, loved one, I appreciate you for being here. And I know that you shared, so thank you for that. And if you all would, if you feel so inclined, to share this video so somebody else can get the information, I would greatly appreciate it. And I'm sure they will as well. So we're going to, for those of you who are just joining me, tonight's discussion is emotional slavery, emotional and mental slavery, and what that looks like. We'll probably get a little bit deeper. If you all have any questions, comments, or concerns, please, by all means, either you can share them here, or if you want to call in, do that, 770-906-5271. Thank you, D. Mays, for sharing. Again, the number is 770-906-5271 if you would like to share. So, I'm sorry, if you would like to call and share, please share. We're going to move into emotional institutionalism. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back and give you the definition again for institutionalism, because I want you to put these things together, because I know you've experienced it. Either you are experiencing it, or you have experienced it, or you know somebody who's doing one or both of the other. Okay, so make sure you get an understanding of what's happening. So institutionalism, again, is a general approach to governance and social science. Again, for this particular topic, we are just leaving it at the general approach to governance and the emphasis on organization at the expense of other factors. The other factors in this conversation would be people. Okay. So here's a note that I wrote out of my head that states, if institutionalism is based on governance, so that can even be self-governance, how you feel about a particular matter is based on the systemic and systematic construct that dictates the necessary response to provoke a predicted action. What the hell does all of that mean? Okay, so I use this example. You all, for those of you who are single parents, or you know single parents, and there's a child support issue, be it through the court or just an agreement that they have, mostly, well, either way, child support. Okay, I'm gonna just use that one. What happens a lot of times, and I'm using the gentleman just because that's what's commonly known, but please know for a fact that this goes both ways. Okay, what tends to happen in situations such as that, when the mother, let's just say, when the mother has the child, when she's responsible for physically raising the child's in her physical custody, and the father, let's just not even do that, the other parent is paying child support, but they are not with the child's other parent. Okay, there's nothing happening there. They're just making sure that they are paying monies every month or every week or whatever for the child. So they're looking at the child as a financial obligation. I'm going to do this because I have to do this, right? Otherwise, I don't have anything to do with you. I don't want anything to do with you. I'm just doing this because I'm financially obligated. So what the mindset, and I'm strictly dealing with that. The mindset becomes, because I'm obligated to do this, I'm going to do that. But there becomes an emotional disconnect from the child. Um, the institutionalism of it, again, the institutionalism of it emphasizes the emphasis being on the organization at the expense of another, and a general approach to governance. The governance says this is what you're supposed to do. This is what we're commanding or demanding that you do. So the act is done, but the connection is gone. It is deliberate. Now we're dealing with some systematic stuff. I'm not going to get no deeper than this. There is a deliberate method, a deliberate approach that has occurred that affects and infects the mentality of the person responsible for paying the support. That's done deliberately to make an individual feel a certain way in order to provoke them to do a certain thing that has already been predicted that they're going to do that, which satisfies an agenda. If I said too many words that y'all don't understand what I'm saying, please throw your hands up and I'll try to lessen it and still help you understand it. Okay, if y'all are good with what I said, we can keep it moving. If you have any questions on what I just said, please let it be known so I can try to figure out a way real quick to help you get an understanding of what I'm talking about. Basically, things are being and have been set in a way that manipulate how a person thinks. Is already done. I know that if I do such and such, how it's going to make you feel, right? I'm counting on you feeling a certain kind of way, because once you feel a certain way, it's going to provoke you to do something that I need you to do in order for you to produce what I need to get from you. Does that make it more clear? This happens, and I'm using it through the systemic part of the institutionalism of it all. That is in politics, in society, that happens in our relationships. It happens across the board on so many different levels. And it's important to understand how a person's mental state can be so easily manipulated if you are not in touch with your emotional intelligence. Okay. If you are a person who responds without thinking, you are being your feelings are being attacked, and you go strictly upon how you feel at the moment, and you respond straight off of how you feel. You become a victim of emotional institutionalism. I hope that helped. This is what we got to try to stay away from. This is why I emphasize F your feelings, okay? Again, feelings falsify facts. If you don't have control over your own emotions, that means somebody or something does. That means you will fall into a category, you will fall into a system and continue to be used as the puppet. But you won't know that you are the puppet, because now your emotions have caused you to feel sympathy for the person who's doing something for you. Because this is what happens also. The person or system, whatever, that's doing something to you also is doing something for you. So because you now see that they're doing something for you, you forget what they're actually doing to you. For example, if you are in a let's just say you are in a hostage situation. God forbid it ever happen, but you're in a hostage situation. You're being held against your will. You are not free. You are not able to do anything that you want to do for yourself. Okay. You are being held against your will for hours, days, months, whatever. Okay. You can't go get food, water. You can't make a phone call. Somebody watching you go to the bathroom, whatever it is, you are being held against your will. That's the fact of the matter. Feelings come in when your hostage holder offers you a sandwich after 3 days of being hungry. They give you a sandwich. They're feeding you because you were in a state of panic. You're in a state of lack, a state of fear, whatever it is. Your oppressor, your master, if you will, was able to control your mind, able to control how you feel by simply giving you a small gesture of kindness. That small gesture of kindness in your mind now causes you to think on behalf of the person doing something to you. You are now looking past the fact that this mofo got you held up. Okay, you are being held against your will. You are not allowed to be free. You're looking past all of that. You are now looking at the fact, well, they did give me a sandwich after 3 days of starvation. I have to be thankful for that. I'm so grateful. There must be some good in you because you gave me a sandwich after 3 days of starvation, not counting anymore that I've been held against my will. So this is where the Stockholm Syndrome kicks in. Okay. This is where you, as the victim, now feel sorry for your abuser. You feel sorry for the person who is holding you hostage. Now you're looking for a way to justify what they've done to you or what they're doing to you. You're trying to find a reason to say, you know what? I understand. I see why you had to make me starve for 3 days. I understand why you had to beat me upside the head. I mean, I was, in fact, trying to get away from you. So, of course, I understand why you got these shackles on my leg, master, because I was trying to run through the field and get to the side of the free. I understand. I understand you had to cut my feet off. I get it. I feel you. I was wrong. I should have never tried to run away, sir, because all the good things that you've done for me. Look at what you have done for me. You done took me out the field, sir, and put me in the house. Come on now. Stop it. But this is how people think. This is how easily it becomes for a person to become emotionally enslaved because we stop using the logical side of our brain and allow the amygdala to take over. The whole emotional side takes over the logic. Sometimes we voluntarily become that emotional slave because we refuse to do the work to be emotionally free. We don't want to do what's necessary to be emotionally intelligent because what that means is now you have to look at yourself in truism. Okay, you have to look at everything about you and analyze that, break those things down and say, you know what, yeah, this is the effed up side of me. These are some things that I need to check. I need to get rid of this. I need to no longer do this. I need to disconnect myself from whatever the case is. You don't want to do that because then it makes you feel some type of way about yourself, which is different than what you want to portray yourself to be to other people. So you need other people to see the facade of you, that you are just this great, wonderful person. You are just so blessed beyond words. You are this blah, 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 blah. But when you get home, you's a mother. You know that. You know it. But nobody else can see that in you because you refuse to really see it for yourself. So if you refuse to see it for yourself, that means you're not going to fix it. You're going to what? Turn that mirror around, deflect, and show somebody else what's wrong with them. When you really know what it is that you're trying to show them is a reflection of yourself you ain't trying to see. What's going on, Muhammad Shabazz? Thank you, loved one, for being here. I appreciate you. And Donald says, yes, sort of like trying blaming you instead of not realizing that they have flaws within themselves. Absolutely. That is the fact. That is the fact. Is it trying to blame you? Right. I got you. But that's what they do. They know they got flaws, but it takes away from them looking at their flaws or you seeing their flaws if they blame you for the flaw that you see. You know why you see this flaw in me? Because something ain't right with your eyes. Your eyes blurred. When the last time you got your eyes checked? Your prescription is expired. It's your fault. What's going on, G Walker? Appreciate you for being here, loved one. It's your fault why you see them the way you see them. It's not their fault that they're seen that way. It's your fault that you see them that way. And that goes for anybody. Like it's not it's not a male thing, it's not a female thing, it's a thing. Period. It happens all the time. Okay. So, for those of you who are just joining me, if you are not familiar with the topic, we are discussing emotional slavery. DJ Mooney D, what's going on, loved one? I appreciate you for being here. It's been a minute. So, I appreciate you for being here. Hopefully, you'll stick around and get this information. Okay. If you all feel inclined to share this information, share this video, please do so. Just click share right now. Somebody can get it right now. They can get it while we're still live. Or if you want to wait till afterwards, that is fine as well. And we have a caller. So let me grab this call. What's going on, G Walker?
Hey, you got it, sweetie. How you doing?
I am well. Peace. How are you?
Yeah, good. Hey, I'm okay. I do would like to talk to you maybe later on when you get off the air for a couple of minutes, just for a quick minute.
Okay.
But anyway, basically just to piggyback on what you're talking about. First of all, let me say it's a pleasure and an honor to be on here with you.
I appreciate that.
Second of all, basically you're right. Everything. Let me just preface it by saying this: everything begins at home, be it virtually, via material possessions, be it how actual home or person. Everything begins at home. Your soul, your spirit, everything. So before you say something about someone else, before you project something on somebody else, you're actually saying it about yourself. So you're absolutely correct in that.
Right.
Hello? Yeah, and the thing about it is, people tend to shy away from and be scared of the truth and change.
Absolutely.
And and one more thing, they can beat. Even if you got someone that can beat Mike Tyson, they can beat Mike Tyson. They can beat Van Hoven. They can beat everybody else in the world. One person they can't beat is that man in the mirror.
Indeed.
You know, and until you face it, until you face that man in the mirror, then you're going around with a facade. You wasting energy. You're spending energy, and you basically draining yourself.
Right.
And depriving yourself of freedom. You're holding yourself in, like you said, an emotional, stagnated form. Actually, you might as well just get in a phone booth and eat 300-400 pounds worth of food because you're stifling yourself. You know, you're stuffing yourself with your own self just image, which is basically wrong.
Right.
You know, and I agree with you. But I just want to say I'm gonna get on off this phone with you, but I enjoy your commentary and I enjoy your. But don't forget to tune in Sunday, the 21st at 2 p.m.
Okay.
I'm gonna be at Faith Deliverance House of God. I'm gonna be speaking.
Okay, post it.
Yeah, I did, and I tagged you in, but
okay.
They can have a live broadcast, but I'm gonna be speaking. But anyway,
okay. That was slick how you snuck that in there, G. It's all good.
Oh well, I mean,
hey man, baby, do your thing.
Yeah, but you know, but basically, No, I'm just telling you about me in case
I got
you know in case I don't get a chance to talk to you or whatever case may be. Just so you can look out for it. But anyway,
no doubt.
Getting back to what you were saying, you have to like I said, no 10-step program, no 12-step program. Basically, and I've seen this myself. Again, I like to talk about reality. I like to talk about real life examples.
Mm-hmm.
I have relatives, one or two. I know people who have had to say to themselves before they went to the recovery, rehab, or whatever the case might be. That's it. They said that's it.
Right.
When they said that was it, then that's when the programs were.
Correct.
Then that's when
Yep.
When they got the help and all these other things, that's when that helped. That's when they had to tell themselves. So the strength is actually really, and you have to pull yourself out of your own self.
That is correct. Absolutely. Pull yourself out yourself. Absolutely.
Yeah. And once you do that, then you got the strength enough to do it, because you got the strength enough to you recognize it.
Yep.
And then you got 10 baby diapers in the room. It's leave it like this. You got 10 babies in the room, all their diapers full, but you the only one stinking. Anyway, I'm gonna let it go.
Thank you for calling, G.
Yeah, okay.
All right, love.
Don't forget.
I got you. You remind me again. Okay, hon. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You're welcome, dog.
Okay. All righty. So if anybody else would like to call in and follow up behind G Walker, good luck with that, first of all. But feel free, 770-906-5271. So moving forward, and then we're going to be able to wrap it up, I think, not really early. The psychological slavery, which is just how you think, period. Not how you feel, but how you think. How does psychological slavery occur? And then we'll connect that to the Stockholm Syndrome as well. So the first thing is that an individual has to first perceive that there is a real threat, okay? That there is something that could physically, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, financially, whatever, something could definitely happen. And it's not just a possibility, but it's a plausibility. Okay, I hope you all know the difference between a possibility and a plausibility. A possibility is it could rain gold nuggets, because anything can happen, right? Anything can happen. But the plausibility, the likelihood based on facts and information that it's going to rain gold nuggets, probably not. Okay, but for an individual that falls into a psychological slavery, they perceive a plausible threat, like this most definitely can happen based on whatever information they have. The next, again, this is in connection with the Stockholm Syndrome. There is an appreciation, like we said, there's an appreciation shown for the little kindnesses shown to a victim or to a potential enslaved, for any little thing that their oppressor, their abuser, or whatever has done for them. So again, we use the example, if you've been held against your will for days, hours, weeks, whatever, and the hostage taker decides to give you a sandwich after 3 days of starving, then you have you show the appreciation, or you even feel an appreciation to them for showing you this bit of kindness. Okay. The third is that the enslaved becomes isolated from others. And I'm saying enslaved because we're talking about mentally being forced into an activity, okay? Forced into. So the person becomes isolated from other people. Nobody can get to them, or the abuser, the slave master, or whatever does or says something to try to keep them to themselves. They try to keep their friends and their family away from other people. And a lot of times that happens because either the person or people that they are with, that the potential enslaved person is with, or that they communicate with, is able to influence them away from the abuser. They don't want that. Okay. So you got to keep that in mind. And finally, the um, the victim or the enslaved is absolutely certain that there is no way out of the situation. Once they've gotten to the point where they have accepted either, and it doesn't even have to be true, okay, but they have accepted that there's no getting out of this. So then they conform. Well, since I'm gonna be in this place with you for the rest of my life, getting a sandwich every 3 days, I might as well just, just show you my love. I might as well just give into it, whatever the case is. I might as well. And since I might as well, let me justify, let me find a reason why I might as well. Okay. The mind will do that because it's finding a way to survive, even if it has to falsify the information, but it's falsifying the information based on your feeling about what's happening or what has been presented. It's going to falsify it. It's a false, okay, in order to survive the situation that it's in, that you are currently in. But if you do not adjust yourself, figure out a way to become quickly emotionally intelligent and get out of that amygdala hijacking stage where your emotional brain has taken over your logical brain, if you don't do that, you will stay enslaved. You'll stay there and you'll continuously justify it. But this will become a trait that you carry on continuously. So if you have children or you have the thought of having children, this now becomes part of your genetic code because you have now rewritten some things in your mind, in your brain, to accept that this is an acceptable place. This is an acceptable behavior. You're doing this. So now you are teaching yourself to justify abuse. You're teaching yourself to justify the abuser. You ever hear when there is a hostage, and I keep using this, but when there is a hostage situation in movies, let's just use that in movies, and it might be two or three, hostage holders, and there's, women with children there. The hostage holders are men. There's women with children there, and they always tell you, don't talk to them. Don't say anything to them. Just get in, get what you got to get, and get the hell on. Don't have conversation with them, because the point is for you not to become vulnerable, not to become connected emotionally with your potential victim or your potential enslaved. The moment you become emotionally attached is when you start to justify behaviors, or when you start to um, lose your logical thinking. Now, for us, for the people who are on the other side of the hijacking, or the other side of the hostage, there's no logic to what y'all are doing. There's no logic to that. But to the person who's doing it, there's logic. So if they become close with the people or person that they are trying to get something from, they now lose control. They lose their position as the master, and now they become the enslaved, and they become the enslaved by the enslaved. So now the enslaved, the original enslaved, is now the master. That leaves them vulnerable. This is what they don't want. Okay, we can use the same um, scenario in what we're dealing with in, throughout what's happening in the world. If we continue to communicate with one another openly and discuss things, and we can talk about things without our feelings dictating what we're going to do or what we're going to say. We can have intelligent, informed conversations with one another. That's going to build us. That's going to cause us to be strong. That's going to cause us to be able to make a move forward and not have to look back, not have to ask questions, but we can move forward. So therefore, we're going to make it so that we're not going to allow you to talk. We're going to make it so that you don't even want to talk to other people. We're going to make it so you don't want to be around other people. We're going to put this fear in you that says if you go around somebody within 6 feet, you're going to get something. You probably going to die. Hence the 6 feet. But we're going to put this fear in you. We're going to cause you to feel a sensation that we need you to feel. We need you to feel this, because once you feel this, again, once you feel this, then you are going to act in a way that we need you to act, which is then going to begin the process of allowing our agenda to become manifested, because you're going to do exactly what we need you to do just because of how we made you feel. Do you understand how all of these things are going together? If you understand, let me know you understand. If you don't understand, say, I don't know what the hell you talking about, sis. Please help a sister out. Please help a brother out. If you understand, if you understand, overstand, let me know that you get it. If you don't, let me know you don't get it. Okay? Because it's important that you get it. Okay? It's important. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything at this point before we get out of here, please do so. If you want a last minute chance to call in, feel free to do so. 770-906-5271, 770-906-5271. So real quickly, I'm just going to go right through what we went through before. I'm just going to go through it. No further explanations, since nobody had any questions. And if you have any and you want to ask me after the fact, you know how to reach me. You can do so. The first, we started off with some definitions, beginning with slavery, not as we've been taught it, okay, but as it is generally speaking, a forced activity or acceptance of a condition. Then we move to emotionalism, which is the tendency to regard things emotionally or with your feelings and to be personally connected to. Systematic, we understood to be structured, acting in a fixed plan or system, and it's very methodical. Institutionalism is the general approach to governance, the emphasis on organization at the expense of other factors being other people. The emotional slavery, what is it? It is a state of being forced to feel or experience the emotions of another, which is usually by way of manipulation or deflection. The enslaved feels responsible for the emotions of another, which in turn takes the responsibility off the oppressor. At this point, the enslaved begins to display Stockholm Syndrome. This is where the victim justifies the behaviors of their abuser and they become overly sympathetic. The emotional slavery occurs due to the lack of or the decrease in emotional intelligence and control, which means you are acting out of emotional impulsiveness. There are signs of emotional slavery. I listed 5, the first being that you react without thinking. This is usually caused by an amygdala hijacking, which is a part of the brain that is responsible for the emotions that takes over the brain that is responsible for logic. The second is that you feel good doing something for the moment, but immediately there are signs, or you immediately feel regret. The third is the actions that you do not only hurt other people, but they hurt yourself. It's like cut your nose, spite your face kind of thing. You're doing something to somebody, but it's hurting you as well. The next is that there's an excessive thinking about what you did or did not do, to the point that there is regret and you are unable to sleep or rest because it's constantly on your mind. And finally, you keep repeating cycles. So if you keep doing this stuff over and over and over again, you are probably under emotional slavery. Okay. Emotional institutionalism, referring back to the definition of institutionalism, which again is a general approach to governance with emphasis on organization at the expense of another factor. And then we talked about the child support issue with that and a couple other things. Note to self was if institutionalism is based on governance, how you feel about a particular matter is based on the systemic and systematic construct that dictates the necessary response to provoke and predicted action, which meaning, again, I'm going to do something to provoke you to feel a certain kind of way. I know how it's going to make you feel. I know while you're in that feeling, you're going to do something that I need you to do in order to push my agenda in the first place. That's what that means in a nutshell. And finally, we discussed the psychology, mental slavery, psychological slavery, and what that looks like in regards to Stockholm Syndrome. Again, that is when a person takes on the sympathies of their abuser. They find ways to justify why the individual is doing what is being done to them. A lot of times they take faults for that as well. So how this usually happens is that the person usually perceives that there is a real life threat that is plausible, not just possible, but plausible, meaning that it most definitely can happen based on the information provided. It can happen. There is an appreciation for the small things that the oppressor or abuser does for the victim. I appreciate you giving me water after 5 days of having nothing. I appreciate this little dry ass sandwich that you gave me after 3 days of starving. You didn't have to do that, but you should, that kind of thing. I appreciate you, Massa, for loosening up the shackles around the shackle around my neck. I appreciate you loosening it up, that kind of thing. Next, the enslaved becomes isolated from other people, so they are no longer able to be with other people. The master or the controller finds a way to keep them all to themselves so that they are not influenced by anyone else that may have any type of, again, influence on them to move away from or do something opposite of what the controller wants. And finally, once a victim has it in their mind that they are absolutely certain that there is no way of getting out of the situation, they basically just give up and say, well, apparently I'm just going to be here. This is what it is. It's going to be this way. There's nothing I can do. I might as well just conform. It is what it is. These are ways that psychological slavery occurs. In order to prevent these things, this is not a joke, okay? Y'all see the word marriage in here and then you flip out. If you read the rest of that, the whole F your feelings, that part, the truth about every relationship, it will most definitely give you some insight to help you save yourself from being in situations that you just shouldn't be in. Okay. So it's not just me trying to give you a book to read it just because. It's to the point. It'll cause you to look at things from a different aspect. Okay. When you base relationships on business and language, when you have an understanding of those things together, it will help you maneuver through your relationships, whatever it is. Okay, so if you are looking to get a copy of that, feel free. Go to my website, My Wellness, MYOMY wellness.com, or you can reach out to me directly. The book is $20 and it's $22 if I mail it to you. I certainly hope that you all have received enough information to utilize and change what needs to be changed, that you are able to share this information on your page or with someone else. Somebody needs to hear it. You received it. Please gift somebody else with the information. Somebody else needs to know this other than yourself. Okay. Um, if you all need any counseling, relationship counseling, individual counseling, I'm available for that. Again, at myomywellness.com, MYOMYWellness.com, or you can call the business line, which is the number that I gave today, 770-906-5271. And we can do face-to-face or virtual counseling is available. Utilize me. I'm trying to help you. Okay. And I will definitely hold you accountable. So if you're afraid of accountability, don't call me. But if you're looking to be helped, if you're looking for ways to help yourself, call me. Okay. I think I've said all that needs to be said at this moment. There are other things, but they can wait for the time being. I appreciate you all for being here, for showing up, for supporting this channel, for supporting me and this movement. I know I got your back. I know you know that. Okay. So I will, most high's willing, see you. Well, will I see you Thursday? It's a possibility. It's a possibility that I'll see you Thursday, right here at 8:30 ish, maybe. Okay. For On the Move Unscripted on Purpose, the ladies roundtable discussion where we talk about everything and anything, and we argue all the time. So if you want to hear that, tune in. Okay. You can also tune in to blogtalkradio.com/Patricia Goins. That's Goins. And catch the show On the Move Unscripted on Purpose. Okay. So again, y'all know what it is. I love you on purpose, with purpose. I appreciate you for being here. And until I see you again next time, peace. Peace, family. I appreciate you all for being here. I'll see you next time.